So this is a demonstration of what I refer to as the windscreen wiper bow that we discussed in your lesson earlier today. Two reasons for learning this technique. Firstly, it is an introductory exercise for learning to play with the spiccato articulation. Secondly, and most importantly for us, it is to help you learn to loosen up certain key joints essential for good bowing, healthy bowing in general, and specifically for staccato bowing. So in very slow motion, we start with the frog turned upwards and the tip turned downwards. And I'm just going to adjust the camera angle so that you can see the bow on the string. So here you see the starting position, and you can see that I'm clearly pulling the frog far up towards me and consequently pushing the tip down towards the floor. Now, in doing this, you'll notice that my wrist curves upwards. I'm going to start with the down bow. And what you see happening there is the hand pushing the frog downwards. Now, it's not just the hand doing that, the movement comes from much further back. And essentially, we begin with a bent elbow, a bent wrist, and we use relatively little bow. Pushing the bow down, we straighten the arm out, and the wrist dips downwards. Now, the opposite is going to happen in the up bow. I go back to my starting position of a high frog, a curved wrist, and a bent elbow. So the idea is to start this just as slowly as I'm doing it, just to understand the movement and to exaggerate the change in the various joints involved in making this movement happen, and then gradually speed it up. Now, other key points to remember when practicing this exercise: it's not a shoulder movement, which is true of all bowing. We are not controlling with the shoulder, and therefore we're not letting the shoulder creep up. That is a sign of tension and a sign that the movement is being controlled from the wrong muscle groups. So that's very important, point number one. Number two, essentially, it's being initiated from the same place that all bow movements should be initiated from, and that's the large muscle group here, around the shoulder blade. Thirdly, should I say, the movement in the arm is essentially just being thrown forward and pulled backwards, and that is happening to facilitate this semicircular movement in the bow. So try this on all four strings, because you'll find that it requires slightly different amounts of energy according to the string that you're on. The most required on the C string and the least on the A string. And after you've spent a couple of minutes practicing it on all four strings, revert back to staccato, also practiced on all four strings, and notice how doing this very exaggerated joint movement and exercise, that your joints should feel a lot looser when you come back to doing a conventional staccato bow.